If we want to achieve gender equality, diversity, and openness in the workplace, we have to change professional networking. When I started my career, I noticed two things. The first is that young women are leading all around us, but they are invisible. The second thing is that traditional formats of professional networking keep young leaders like you invisible. What do I mean by professional networking? It's simple, really. It's social interaction for useful information and professional contacts. It's how the majority of us will find out about our next job. It's the unwritten rule of getting ahead. And yet, face-to-face networking hasn't really changed for decades. In fact, traditional formats of networking haven't really changed since women entered the workforce. And that is a problem. You might be familiar with these kind of events. Usually after a conference, it's an evening drinks, it's a cocktail, it's an alcohol-fueled environment. And basically, you walk into a room full of strangers and you're invited to make judgments about them, snap judgments based on their appearance, on their job title, and maybe on their business card. If you're lucky, you might end up going for a coffee with one of these people. But basically, the interaction, it's the interaction which is key, is pretty shallow. The kind of people who do really well at these events are super confident, charismatic, and know how to sell themselves well. But events like this don't ask you to do much more than that. Basically, you're an observer. And the problem here is that any environment that encourages you to make a snap judgment, say based on someone's appearance, puts young people, and particularly young women, at an automatic disadvantage. In fact, if you're recently graduated or between jobs, if you're new in town, you have almost no currency in this situation. And basically, this form of professional networking, although young professionals make up the majority of people who attend these events, is basically really inefficient in terms of the information and contacts you get out of it. The interactions are really superficial. And basically, it's just a supremely awkward thing to be part of. So when we started Leadarise, a free transatlantic network of young women professionals and entrepreneurs who want to maximize their positive impact on society, we asked ourselves, why not create something that we actually want to be part of? Why don't we create a network which showcases the amazing young female leaders around us? Why don't we have an unapologetic gender equality debate, but welcome young men into the discussion with open arms? And why don't we spend this face-to-face networking time learning from each other, being inspired by each other, and gaining new leadership skills as well? The Leadarise model of networking is extremely simple. We're basically networking by community building. And we're community building based on values of service, generosity, and reciprocity. We're sending the message that the leaders of the future are the kind of people who lift up those around them. Within a year of starting Leadarise, with no legal identity, no budget whatsoever, none of the things which society tells you you need to have to be credible, we were in 4 cities, Brussels, New York, London, and Dublin, holding events with young female leaders in politics, in business, in the arts, in engineering. And our message that young women are already leaders now was being amplified by the incredible power of our community. Everyone who takes part in Leadarise probably has an extremely demanding job or their own business and maybe even a family. But they volunteer their free time to organize events for their communities. They organize things which are a gift to those around them and which raise other people up. They network visible. In March last year, a really cool thing happened. President Obama was in Brussels at his first US-EU summit. And he gave a speech at the Beaux-Arts Theatre. That speech was entitled Address to European Youth. And the values which were chosen to represent the voice of European youth, the values of service, generosity, and reciprocity, they were represented by our voice. Never before was our message that young women need to take their places as the leading lights of their communities more visible, as it was broadcast live from newsrooms across the world. So, what is there to learn from this story? Other than the fact that when you put amazing young female leaders in a room, incredible things happen. And other than the fact that we can do professional networking a heck of a lot better. The real message, I think, of our story is that if you want to create something, create it. If you want to improve something, improve it. If your idea resonates with the people around you, you can only succeed. And you will probably succeed in ways that you never could have imagined. Thank you very much.